listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Challenge After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Challenge After Show.
Yo, what up, AfterBuzzers? Bing is for doing, and we are doing another AfterBuzz TV after show for MTV's The Challenge Battle of the Season, Season 23, Episode 5, NARCISSISTIC.
You almost got through it without looking down.
I did. But
tough.
the thing is, if you're thinking you had deja vu, like we just went through this, don't worry. We're doing it again. We're starting the show off again.
We had so much fun introducing it. We just needed to do it one more time.
I love it. I just wanted to make sure you guys know that Bing is for doing and that we're really doing this right now. All right.
But before we do anything else,
Let me introduce myself. I'm DJ Jesse. And across from me, I'm going to give you the same intro. The beautiful, the lovely, the one, the only Roxy Striar.
Hi. I think last time I got gorgeous and brilliant.
I'll say those.
You're missing a couple compliments in there.
For next week.
Okay, write that down.
But now I don't miss you this time around because I said I missed you in the last one. But since I already said it,
And I was kind of a busy
and
batch.
we just went through this, I don't. Yeah, you were a bitch. That's right. But a lot to talk about. Again, Trey is going to be calling in, giving his side of this. The story on the challenge, what his strategy is. I'm really excited because that's something we've been wondering.
Right. And we need him to call in because we need a little bit of a devil's advocate for some things.
Yeah. Because last week was pretty intense, with Zach.
Yeah. He got torn apart a little bit.
Very opinionated.
We give people here a chance to stand up for themselves.
This is a platform, people.
This is a platform.
A platform for everyone and anyone to share their thoughts, including the viewers.
Yeah,
guys,
which is cool.
Call in. If you're watching us, 424-256-1729. Call in, talk, chat. I mean, hey, just let us know what you're doing. I had someone call in a couple of days ago. Yeah, just in her dorm room, chilling. Wanted to talk about the show. And now let's talk about the show.
Okay.
So we started where we ended last week, double elimination. They tend to do this towards the middle. I don't know if it's to extend the season or shorten it or what maybe.
What is this season, 14 episodes? I think.
With the reunion, yes, I believe, or 15 it might be.
Okay.
But either or, we've seen in the previews that some drama is going to come up, so maybe they're kind of saving some space so we can watch the drama. We love that here.
Yeah, but I liked that this episode was so focused on competition.
On the challenge.
Because that's why we watch the show.
Right.
So, yes, I like the drama, and I like that we have a lot of it, and there's enough people here, and we've got exes, and we had divorcees, and whatever. I'm liking that this episode really got to the heart of what the show's about.
Exactly. It started and finished with the battles.
And in the middle, there was another competition. So, yeah, we really came to play tonight.
And very intense. I mean, we had the last of the 4 battle rounds called Water Torture. That was pretty intense. We had Brooklyn versus Fresh Meat. Brooklyn was just tossed to the lions all day today.
Getting it in. Like, Brooklyn, I feel so bad. And honestly, they're in good spirit.
Very good. I like the team morale.
Chet was making a joke about it, but he was like, maybe if we keep winning, people will start to respect us and not throw us in. Obviously, that's not going to happen.
No.
And I don't really know Chet. I mean, we haven't met him yet, so I can't say this exactly, but he kind of does seem like a narcissistic douche. So that's on TV. What I see, nobody send mail to my house that they hate my guts because I don't like Chet. I don't know the kid, but I like the way that Sarah deals with it better. She's very confident, but she doesn't seem like such a prick.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
And, you know, I would definitely want to get our main man on the line, the one, the only Steve the Steamer.
Oh, and he's back.
He ditched us last week. What up, Steamer?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Steamer, what were you doing last week that was more important than being here with us?
I was watching the Yankees game.
Oh,
Okay. Well, we hate you for that because we're
Hey.
Red Sox in here.
They're losing the series anyway, so it's all good.
tough break, man.
What did you think of tonight's episode? We had double eliminations, more focus on the challenges.
It was all right. I just don't know why they split off last week's episode. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know that either.
they didn't have enough stuff to show in this episode that they had to cram it all in. But it was all right. I always liked the trivia contest, so that was enjoyable to watch.
I did like the
I
trivia.
wonder, Steamer, how many of the questions did you answer? Were you able to answer? Especially the ones about the challenge.
Out of the challenge ones, I did 9 for 11, which is pretty sad considering I wasn't even up top there, but I thought it was all right since I missed one geography once, like where was it filmed, and I'm not very good at that. I don't really remember that.
When you come in studio, we're gonna set that challenge up in the back of AFTERBUZZ.
Oh, yeah?
But when they
I
ask,
wasn't so well.
how about when they ask what country something's filmed on, and we get the answer of a continent?
Oh no. How many countries has it filmed in?
No, how many
25
continents
Continents,
has this been shown? 21. 21. Like,
Well, let's get it from someone who is actually there. We have the one, the only Trey from St. Thomas on the line.
What's up?
Hello, sir. How are you doing these days?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're doing spelling competitions, all that.
I wish you were
ish
sitting
up
here
in
in
here.
studio with us.
I wish I was out there too, man. I'm getting tired of seeing everybody getting to chill with you guys and drink out of those really cool mugs you got. I want a mug.
We're glad you're calling
Forget
in,
the mugs.
though.
It's all about the wristbands
Oh, yeah,
now.
we've got these new sick wristbands. I love this thing.
Oh, all right, Trey, we have a lot to talk about here because we've been wondering, and I'm sure a lot of the fans have been wondering, where is Trey's head at? What is you go into the challenge, obviously, what's your idea going in? Like, how do you want to play the game? You know, I believe you've said that you want to play it fair and, you know, focus on the challenges, but you have to know going in that there's a little bit of politics involved. So what is your strategy for the game?
Basically, going in, it was just exactly what you said. I pretty much wanted to play it fair. I was pretty confident in my athletic ability going in. I knew I wasn't the biggest guy, but I knew I wasn't the smallest. I felt like I had an advantage with speed. I felt like I was definitely stronger than some of the guys there. I felt like the fact that I wasn't drinking every night was even a slight advantage for me. So I was very confident in my own game, and that's really what I wanted to do was compete. It just turns out that some of these challenges, especially oil change and don't weigh me down, they had absolutely nothing to do with athleticism. It really depended on which team you were cool with and who was willing to save who. So, you know, I didn't realize about, I mean, maybe until we were 3 or 4 challenges in, that the alliances really do matter. And to be completely honest with you guys, no, I have not really watched the challenges in the past. And that's one of the number one things I get said to me all the time is, like, people are like, oh, my God, you had to seen this before. Like, you know Wes is a manipulator. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I really don't watch these things. You guys watched the episode tonight, and you saw me get my very first question wrong, and it was challenge trivia. They asked me who won Rivals. And I didn't know, and I just dropped. So there's your proof right there. I do not watch the challenges, so I didn't really know that politicking was that big of a deal in this game. And then it just so turns out that at the time that I found out that politics was such a big deal, I was already on Frank and Zach's shit list, so it didn't really matter anyway if I decided to, like, change and want to be cool with them, man. We were going to be on the bottom of their totem pole anyway, so it didn't really matter.
But how are you going to be on the bottom of their totem? I mean, because they really got along with Marie and Rob, from what I'm guessing.
From what you gather, that's true, but the fact of the matter is our entire team wasn't dedicated to them up front like New Orleans was. And you got to think, at the time, Vegas was also a part of their alliance as well before the deception started, I guess. That happened in maybe episode 3 or 4. So there was already a 4-person team, or a 4-team, you know, alliance that was pretty strong. Knight's been sucking Zach's ass since the beginning, so he's not going in. They're like butt buddies, and I think that Knight at this point knows that that's his only way of staying in the game is by being cool with them, because when it comes down to athleticism, they weren't proving themselves either. We catch a lot of crap on our end saying that, they didn't think that St. Thomas was a strong team. I mean, look at New Orleans. They're just as dysfunctional as Fresh Meat was. So it's just, I knew going in that they may have accepted Rob and Marie, but Rob and Marie aren't Team St. Thomas. Team St. Thomas is 4 people. And I knew that they weren't going to accept all of us, and that wasn't really going to work for me.
Did you find familiar bond with some of the other guys in the house? I mean, I think it was last episode. It was you, Chet, Alton,
yeah.
and you guys are all just kind of hanging out. And Chet brings up you bring it up, and Chet brings it up. The fact that this is not only a game, a battle like between the seasons. It's also between your own teams because you were unaware of how strong of a well, I guess Chet was more unaware of how strong the other people in your own team were with other alliances, and kind of leaving
right.
you, and Dustin was involved with that too. And
yeah.
you guys were all kind of involved in this manipulative game. Did that affect, your team's relationship?
Oh, obviously. I mean, Marie and I, the problem was that we got invited to the challenge so fast after the Real World St. Thomas. Literally, when we flew back from St. Thomas, I think we landed on a Thursday or a Friday, and then I got the call and the invite to the challenge that Monday. So I was only home 3 days, and MTV headquarters called me again and said, "Hey, this is so-and-so from the challenge. Would you be interested in doing it?" And I said, "Sure." They flew me out like a week or two later to go to New York to take my physical exam, to get my blood taken and to do like physical tests to make sure that we were healthy and stuff. And then another week later, I was on a plane to Turkey. Had no idea that I was going to Turkey at the time, but that's what it, ended up happening. So literally, Marie and I had no time between St. Thomas and Turkey to mend our relationship, to talk over any issues. And the same thing with Rob. I never really had a big problem with Rob, but it wasn't a secret that they were still together at the time. So, they were spending a lot of time together, which meant that I wasn't spending a lot of time with them. And it was just this big ordeal that, we didn't really have that ample amount of time to mend our relationships, throw things away and just kind of move on with our lives and be positive. So when we got out to Turkey, it was like St. Thomas 2. That's really what Turkey was to me. It was like the Real World Junior. It was arguing with Marie again, but this time, instead of like me being able to hide in my bedroom and her, hiding in her side of the house with LaToya, it was literally I had to work with her. I didn't have a choice. Like, we were wearing the same color jersey. So, I think that lack of time from the Real World to the challenge really put us at a disadvantage, because I really think that Marie and I could work out our differences. I really think that if we were given the opportunity and people were just, if Marie and I were just to go out to some random freaking bar in New York and we were to sit down over a couple drinks and a meal, I guarantee you we could leave that conversation laughing our asses off, having a great time. We might not be best friends, but it would be so stress relieving to say what we need to say with no cameras and no outside people, chiming in. I guarantee you we could get something established, but Marie and I have never had that opportunity. Even when we went to the post-reunion show in New York, she was with LaToya, and I was with Brandon and Swift, and it was just, we were paired up again, and it's never happened, and it's kind of unfortunate. It's put us at a disadvantage.
Do you feel like Marie had people chirping in her ear, like Zach or Frank, or whoever else, I'm not sure, at the challenge, it made it worse for you?
I mean, that's obvious, Jesse. You guys just had John A. on there not too long ago, and I think she admitted within the first 5 minutes of her conversation that Rob and Marie told her that, she hated us and that she wanted to get rid of us because we were kind of like dead weight. And when I confronted her about it, even though I did it the wrong way, I tweeted something to her, and then she wrote back, and Marie said that was part of her game. She was just telling them that for the sake of whatever. So I never know the truth. The problem with these houses, Jesse and Roxy, is just that everybody wants the money. It's $250,000. It's like you can't trust anyone. Even though I was cool with Wes and I was cool with Dani and I was cool with Alton, I didn't trust them as far as I could throw them. So it's so hard because I feel like everybody's being fake. I was called, a faker and a super fan. I'm like, dude, everybody is that way. We're all kissing ass one way or another, whether I do it more or I do it less or what. It doesn't matter. It's $250,000. everybody in that house is selfish because if Cancun wins the money, that doesn't benefit me. If San Diego wins the money, that doesn't benefit me. So for me, I'm doing whatever I can to get it. And Marie's doing the same thing. Zach's doing the same thing. So I just didn't trust anybody, Jesse, and that's really hard to live with people that you don't trust, that you don't get along with, and you're over analyzing every single thing they say. I mean, you could be talking about cereal, a bowl of cereal, and you're like, all right, what do they want from me?
Well, that being said, though, if you could go back now, I mean, of course, hindsight is 20/20 vision, but if you could go back, do you think you would have tried to align with them earlier or work things out with Marie?
That's a great question. I don't think that I would have aligned with them earlier because I could tell right from the get-go that they weren't feeling me and we weren't getting along, and that's just human nature. Like I'm not gonna like team up with people that I don't like unless I'm forced. And in this case, I had an option. I could either choose to side with them or not, and I chose not to. I told Andrew Kirk on an interview earlier that I did with him a couple hours ago. I said if I were ever invited onto another challenge and I accepted, that I would consider changing my strategy. I would consider, joining an alliance or, not trying to be the rebel and the outcast or whatever. Like, I would consider that, but it would make things 10 times easier if the alliance was actually full of people I liked. And I know that you can't always get what you want on these challenges, but to me, the cons outweighed the pros when I thought about joining that alliance. I mean, it was Frank, it was Zach, it was Knight, and then, you guys haven't even seen, and you probably won't see, Knight actually threw Laura to the ground while we were out there. There was an altercation where Knight and Preston were in an argument, and Laura got in the middle of it to defend Preston, and Knight shoved Laura to the ground. And at this point, I thought that I was going to get kicked out of the house. I wasn't there, and when I found out that he put his hands on her, I ran upstairs, but production had already taken care of Knight, and I couldn't do anything. So I had, outstanding issues with all types of people in the house. It wasn't just that I didn't get along with Frank because we're calling each other names. I mean, I had one of the guys put their hands on my girl. It's just that house is a living prison, and I wasn't going to align with them. I mean, I wasn't going to fake it. So you guys, you see what you got.
Steamer, what do you I know you've been tweeting about the show, and I know you've very vocally, agreed with Trey's side as far as the challenge and his strategy. What do you have any questions?
Yeah, how quick when you got into the house did you realize that Frank and Zach didn't like you? Was it over a course of a few days, or was it instantaneous?
I could pretty much see. Here's the thing: Zach and I think I've been on the record to say this before. Zach and I were like the first two people to meet. Zach was sitting at BWI, which is Baltimore Washington International Airport, waiting for the flight to connect to New York. We were all meeting in New York together. Obviously, we were coming from different places. Zach was the only person that was in Baltimore with me, so it was literally me and Zach right off the bat. Like, it was Zach, I, and nobody else. We had the opportunity to bond and talk for a good 45 minutes, an hour before our flight left. Granted, we didn't sit next to each other on the plane, but, once we got to JFK in New York, we were walking around together trying to find people and stuff. Our conversations, they were really just blah. I mean, they weren't about anything. We weren't really even talking about the challenge or anything. I was, I asked him about his season, and, we were just talking football and stuff. It was really generic, really general statements. I felt right off the bat that Zach and I were going to be all right. Jim Johnson, the executive producer of The Real World, and after one of my interviews in St. Thomas, he even told me, he's like, Zach's a big teddy bear. He's like, I see you guys getting along. And, so I went into this not really knowing so much about Frank, but I went in with the expectations of actually being cool with Zach. Then once I heard that Zach had caught some homophobic slander or whatever on his season because of whatever happened. I didn't even watch their season, but I felt like I could kind of relate to that too because I caught some racial stuff on my season. So if anything, I kind of went into this, and I don't want to say that I was going to view Zach as like a big brother, but I was kind of like, man, if anybody can help me, it can be the dude that had the real world before me that went through the same stuff I did.
Really?
And when I got there, it was the exact opposite. It was like he didn't help me with anything. I mean, maybe he just didn't like me. Maybe that was part of their scheme, whatever. But I really didn't have any ill feelings towards Zach, and it's really unfortunate now that, nowadays he's on AFTERBUZZ threatening if he sees me in public, he'd punch me or something. I mean, it's childish, man. I really thought that, something good could have came out of our friendship, but it just, it never ended up happening.
But why? Why didn't he like you then? What do you think? Because you guys had this normal conversation, and then you get into a house, and all of a sudden he hates your guts?
Do you think it's just the politics of the game?
He'll probably attribute it to something else. I'm sure if you guys brought Zach back on next week, he'll have some answer or some justification for it. In my mind, the only thing that I can think is that at this point, Frank and him have already mended their relationship. They're obviously on a team together. They're obviously in an alliance together, and Frank didn't like me. And Frank has more of a pull over Zach than I do. And furthermore, I don't drink as much as Marie does. And Marie was, like, up there with them all the time. And Marie and I weren't on the same page. So at this point, it's like Marie is pulling whatever trick she's pulling. It just, for whatever reason, I felt like I was getting the shit end of the stick every time. And I don't know the real reason, Roxy, to answer your question. Like, I don't have the 100% truthful answer, but, I mean, I guess that's the only other thing I can think of.
Do you think it was a trickle down? I mean,
yeah.
You just said...
Like, Marie didn't like you, so then Frank didn't like you, so then Zach didn't like you.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what I think. Honest to God, I pretty much think that it trickled down. There might be a little bit of the alpha male syndrome. He likes to call it the little man syndrome because I'm only 5'9", and whatever, that's cool. But I mean, for whatever reason, they've attributed this egomaniac and superfan label to me, which I think is actually really funny. And when I heard them say that, I actually wanted to come on here and address it because to me, it's really funny when I hear them call me the names, because first of all, the whole superfan thing, that's retarded. When I talked to Ashley in the house, and Ashley obviously being Zach's ex-girlfriend, Ashley told me that Zach has always wanted to do the challenges. Like, one of his main reasons for even going on The Real World was to get on a challenge.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do Battle of the Exes together because they were a couple at the time. But Zach, he's always wanted to be on this. I never watch MTV. Like, I literally only watch ESPN all the time. And it kind of bothered me when they were calling me, like, a super fan of Wes and stuff like that, because I'm like, all right, MTV showed one clip of me talking to Wes where I admitted watching his season, and suddenly that makes me a super fan. And now I'm sitting there thinking, like, you mean to tell me everybody in this house has never watched somebody else's season here?
No, that's
like, I guess the only reason I got the super fan label is because I admitted to watching it, and that's just kind of how they edited it, So
if you don't usually watch that, what made you want to go on The Real World in the first place?
It was something that I kind of wanted to do as a kid, more so as a kid, because I believe it or not, I went out for the Real World DC when I was like 19 years old, I think, and I didn't get it. But I found out that Ty got it. And if you guys know Ty Ruff, obviously from the challenges, Ty's from Baltimore too. And it just kind of sparked something in me, and I was like, it wasn't that Ty wasn't what I thought. I guess I was a little jealous, man, because I was like, they picked him from Baltimore. Why wouldn't they pick me from Baltimore? Like, at the time, I was a little, I guess I was a little jealous. I was a little, I don't know. I wanted the Baltimore guy to be me. Just plain and simple. I wanted the Baltimore guy on The Real World to be me. I wanted more of my story to be heard, really, about my dad. And it's unfortunate because I went into that with the screwed up relationship with Chelsea, and obviously that's what my whole storyline revolved around, was Chelsea and Laura. But I really wanted you guys to hear more about my relationship with my father, and I wanted you guys more to hear about my athletic, background and stuff like that, and it never got shown. I mean, you guys saw me talk about my dad in like the first 2 episodes, and I talked about him being in prison, and when Laura and I were having a deep conversation, like, I was a little upset, and I told her, that my father is one of the reasons I shut people out. But other than that, they never showed it. They never showed it, and I was kind of upset about that.
And I mean, even with this this season, it's hard to see, how athletic you can be, because these games are so difficult. I mean, what did you think of the water torture game? I mean, watching Brooklyn versus...
I'm just glad it wasn't me, bro. I don't like. I'm not good at holding my breath underwater, man.
Like, were you cool with Big Easy? And like, I mean, I know Devin really likes you. So, what was their relationship like? And just the fact that he quit, was there that much stress on his back? In the house, or? Dude,
it's been said time and time again, and it'll continue to be said that was just probably the most dysfunctional team. I mean, you see, and I love Cara Maria too. Don't get it twisted, but she was really indecisive a lot of times. She was going in, and then she wasn't going in, and then she was going in. And then Camilla, when she drinks, she's completely unstable. Easy, definitely, he gets crazy. I think Brandon is probably the most chilled and laid back one of them all. He just always seems to be just chilling. Like, I have nothing to say about Brandon Nelson except he just chills. He's like the chillest kid. But no, my relationship with Easy was cool. In fact, I talked to Easy about a week ago. He called me and invited me to host spring break with him or something. So Easy and I are cool, man. I don't have any problems with Easy. I saw him in Vegas too. The whole quitting thing, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have quit. But then again, I don't know what it's like to be on Team Fresh Meat. I don't know what it's like to be on a team with Camilla. I don't know what it's like to be on a two-person team. You know what I mean? There's so many things. I can't speak for him.
And I did think it was interesting, when TJ called him out, he was like, you don't know what it's like. I was never on a team. He's like, and it does make sense, because even though you and Marie have your troubles, you know her. You lived with her. You have a bond forever. Fresh Meat, they were just thrown together. And it's interesting because I know Real World Australia was supposed to be there, and they flew them out to you guys. Did they actually stay in the house with you guys at the beginning?
No, Team Sydney, dude. I met Team Sydney. I met Isaac, Dunbar. I think it was Ashley, and I remember Kelly Ann. I met those four in the international airport. They flew on the plane 11 hours all the way to Turkey with us. And then when we got to Turkey, the first thing that we did before we even saw the house, the very first thing we did in Turkey is we stopped at some place, got something to eat, and we literally went straight to the arena. I mean, straight to it. TJ was waiting, all the lights, cameras were set up, and that's why you see us in our street clothes. We had all the clothing that you see us in that very first episode, that's what we wore on the airplane. Like, we got off the airplane, went straight there, and when we got there and we were standing around and TJ was like introducing everybody, that was the first time that we realized that Team Sydney wasn't with us anymore. And then he said something about a mystery team, and I was so confused. I was like, well, they flew here with us, so if Sydney's the mystery team, well, we already know that. Maybe you guys are just doing that for the viewers.
Right.
And then when Fresh Meat pulled up, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I had no idea. So.
And they still never told you guys what the reasoning was, or sickness?
I mean, maybe some people know. I've heard that something was in somebody's backpack, and I heard somebody else had a heart problem. They're all rumors.
Yeah,
I honestly 100% don't know the truth. I don't really know anybody from Sydney, so I can't really call and ask, but I never heard the answer.
I hear you.
Honestly, about that, though, I'm not the biggest fan of Camilla. I've said it time again. She just annoys me. Like you're saying, when she's drunk, she just shouldn't drink in general. But I will give it to her that she's such a fierce competitor. And I was so pissed off at Big Easy because you don't quit. But then again, here I am sitting on my couch watching this episode, eating popcorn. Like, who am I to say whether I would have been able to stick with it or not?
No, and I'm the same way. I mean, Roxy, I was actually there, but I wasn't competing in this challenge. So even then, like, who am I to say you don't quit? I mean, I wasn't going to walk up to Easy at the end of it and be like, man, why'd you quit? Like, he doesn't need to hear that from me. He doesn't need to hear it from anybody. He knows what he did, but he's the only person that knows what it's like to be in his position. So who am I to judge? You know what I mean? Like, maybe I would have did something different. Maybe you would have did something different, but we're not Big Easy. So, you know, I understand it a little bit. The sad thing is, I'll just tell you guys from my perspective, me being there, it actually looked like Camilla and Easy were winning, which is the real sad thing. I mean, it was really close, and granted, I wasn't wearing my glasses that episode, and they were on the far side away from me, but if they weren't winning, I'm telling you, it was neck and neck. Like, they were actually doing really well. I think it just came down to Easy struggling, holding his breath. You got to think, I mean, it's a little chilly there at nighttime. You're dangling upside down from your feet. One thing that you guys don't get to see in the episode is they actually pulled them down once. They stopped that challenge like halfway through and said that it was a health hazard. They let them come down for like 5 minutes. Sarah went up to JD and rubbed JD's feet to like warm his feet back up and get the circulation and the blood flowing going. And then like 5 minutes, like they were back at it. They were like, all right, you guys got to go back up. So obviously they're not going to show that in the episode, but it was definitely a huge health hazard. I mean, you're holding your breath, hanging upside down in the cold. It's pretty bad.
And sometimes that can almost screw you up even more. Like, you know, if you ever like ran like a marathon or something.
Oh yeah, all the time. You know me and my marathon running.
But I'm just saying, you know, if you go, sometimes it's easier just to go and complete it versus like stopping and taking a break, because then it's harder to jump back on that horse.
That's true. Like if I go to the gym and I'm working out and then I take a break, there's no frickin' way. And that's crazy that you said that, because I was watching this competition and I was thinking somebody's really gonna get hurt.
Well, I mean,
if you want another spoiler too, when Frank got asked his question about the Sahara Desert and what continent or whatever.
Hold on, Trey, hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
This is
apparently
Spoiler alert!
Oh my God!
Spoiler alert!
Because Zach dropped a spoiler last week, and our fans are not happy with that. So go ahead, Trey.
We have to now announce it. So go ahead. We are getting some YouTube hate about the spoilers.
All right, you guys cut me off. I got you. No more spoilers.
No. We want the spoiler,
but we just have to announce it so people can fast forward and skip it if they want.
So Frank,
all right. Well, it's actually not even something you can skip because it wasn't even shown. So you guys sounded that funny alarm for nothing.
Well, thanks, Trey. You fucked it all up.
But hold on. I actually like it. I might make that my ringback tone.
There you go. So what happened with Frank?
No, but basically Frank actually got that. He got that question right the first time TJ asked it, and TJ pulled the lever by accident. And
Oh my God.
Frank went falling 30 feet into the water, and he was swimming over. And then we were asking, we were like, "What did you say?" And he told us, Africa or whatever. And we were like, "That's right."
Yeah,
and then we yelled up at TJ, and we were like, "TJ, he got it right." And he was like, "Oh, my bad." And then they put Frank back up in the chair and pretended like it never happened. So I always think that's funny because when we're watching the shows, obviously we were there in person, so we know who fell and what happened. And that was really funny to me, like to watch the shows and see how they play it off. It's just kind of.
He didn't look
bad.
wet though. He didn't look. I wish I had noticed.
No, and that's what's funny too, because another thing was Zach actually fell during hook, line, and sinker, and his rope snapped, and he fell 30 feet just like Easy did. But because it was an equipment malfunction, they let him get a brand new rope. They brought it back in. They let them start from the middle, and then they put him back up there and let him finish.
Really?
And I can't tell you how pissed off we were. Zach wants to say, and they all want to say, "Oh, it was just as hard to go back up there halfway." And I'm thinking in my head, like, there's no fair way to do it. Like, Zach's rope snapped. He came down. He was pissed off. He said, "You need to make the equipment big enough or strong enough for even us big people," and yada, yada. He got into an argument with production. Basically, they put him and Cancun back up on the scaffolding, and then they finished. And, you guys won't see Zach falling. You won't see him even look wet. They, let him dry off, and then they put him back up there. So
that's such a tough position, though, because what is, like you're saying, what is fair? What are they supposed to do there?
Right.
Obviously, it's not fair to make him start again.
You either start him back from the beginning, which sucks because he already did halfway, or you start him from halfway, but he already had a rest, so it's going to make it easier for him. So I agree that there was no fair way to do it once he fell because of an equipment malfunction, but it's still funny for me to watch the way that MTV edits it and then see them just kind of play it off, you know what I mean?
That was a really interesting. The trivia game was really fun. Power Team went to San Diego, and New Orleans obviously lost. So then they have to do the endurance challenge, which this one, to me, feels like a gym game.
No, this was mental.
No, it was endurance. The balls.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking about the first challenge that we saw tonight.
Tell us how that was live. I mean, I know I was actually rooting for Preston because I'm just like, these guys are just knocking this kid down, like just saying how horrible he is. And I mean, the first challenge, you guys talk all this trash, how bad he is. He fell down, got back up.
It's hard because I was rooting for Sarah and Preston.
Exactly.
Which is obviously impossible because the two of them were hustling their asses off, but then you turn over and you see Mackenzie, she's like fucking sleeping. She literally was like kind of walking back and forth. I'm like, girl, this is 90 seconds, push it.
Right.
I know, again, I'm sitting on my couch and whatever, but push yourself. You see, she's not even, I just felt bad for Preston, because I really think that if Preston and Sarah were paired up, they would have kicked Mackenzie and Chet's butts. They would kill them.
You see, the other thing you guys don't see in the house, and I love Mackenzie to death. She was one of the people that I actually enjoyed being with in the house. I think between her and Melinda, and it's ironic that they both had the same elimination round and they both went out the same way. I think both Melinda and Mackenzie were both kind of just ready to go home to their boyfriends. It was just kind of like a vibe I was picking up in the house. I don't want to say that Mackenzie didn't want to be there because I think she wanted the money just as bad as everybody else did, but there's just certain times in the house. I mean, you saw Nani say it last episode. Like, we just get to a point in the house where you're just ready to go home early. Like, you don't even care. And I think that sometimes people use the elimination as the easy way to go out. Alton even talked about it. As fierce as a competitor as he is, he's like, dude, I'm just going to go in and lose on purpose so I can go home. Like, it's just sometimes, maybe people are just saying that to say it because they're frustrated, and maybe sometimes they really mean it. But living in that house, I mean, it puts you in the most uncomfortable spots where you really do contemplate just walking up to them and being like, I'm done with this. Can I just leave?
Was it more uncomfortable than living in the real world house? Was it harder?
Yeah, only because, Jesse, there's like 31 other people instead of 6.
Yeah.
So it's like that aspect on top of the fact that you can't leave the challenge house at all. Like, you can't leave at all. Like, in the real world, if I was arguing with Marie and LaToya, like, I'll call for a boat and I'll just go to the gym by myself, and sometimes the camera crew wouldn't even follow me. But because the guidelines are so much more strict on the challenge, like, you can't even leave the premises. Plus, we're in Turkey. Where the hell are you going to go? Like, we were in a gated community with a bunch of mansions. Like, as soon as you walk down to the bottom of our hill, it looks like we're in the desert. Like, I don't know any Turkish people in Bodrum. So it's like, where the hell am I going to go?
All right, and we actually have a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Danielle, and I'm from Bad Girls Club, because I don't know, I guess I heard that I was talked about last week, so now I'm making a guest motherfucking appearance.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dani Victor, one of the infamous twins from Bad Girls Club Season 8. I'm assuming you listened to last week's episode with our dear guest, Zach?
Yes, I did. I actually heard the interview because my fans, since I had more fans than both him and his bitch-ass girlfriend combined, tweeted me and said, these motherfuckers are talking shit about you. So I listened, and now I'm here because that was just straight embarrassing, and it was straight lies, so I'm here to defend myself.
Okay, so tell us the real story. What happened? What's up?
Okay, where do I begin? Number one, Zach broke up with Ashley, and who was the first girl that he gave his number to? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's me. He gave his number to me. I started talking to him. We talked for months, and I mean months before I even met him. Like, we talked every day. There wasn't a day or night this motherfucker didn't text me and say, good morning, babe. Good night, babe. I hope you're having a good day. You're the most beautiful girl. He even told me before he came out here, even though he claims that he told me he has no feelings for me, it was just a one-night stand. He even told me before he came out here, I have a huge crush on you. I haven't felt like this. I don't get crushes. Like, you're the first girl that I had feelings for since Ashley, blah, 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 blah. And then I hear that he says that I'm a one-night stand on the interview. Let me tell you something. Excuse me, I'm a little bit drunk. But, you know, the truth comes out when you're drunk, so you know I'm not lying. Number one, I don't sleep with dudes. Zach is the only guy I have slept with this entire year. So for him to come on a TV show where he knows, an AfterBuzz show, where everyone is listening, he is full of shit. Like, how are you going to come on an interview show where not only my fans of Bad Girls Club are listening, but real worlders and real world fans are listening, and you make me seem and sound like I'm a whore, because that is not what happened at all.
So why would he make it up?
Where did the sourness come for you guys?
That's what I'm saying. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, so he left. He came out here.
Is that Trey laughing in the back?
Yeah. When I met him,
so good.
When I met him, he was obsessed with the challenge, and he was not over Ashley. As a woman, I can accept for the fact that when he came out here, maybe he was using me to get over Ashley. Maybe he was still, like, wounded by that entire situation. I could tell that he was not over her because he talked about her a lot. He talked about the challenge. And I knew right then and there, oh, my God, my resume doesn't say the real world, so I don't have a shot in hell. Do you really think that Zach, out of all people, is going to tell the world, tell America, that he's with a bad girl? Even though any man in America would be happy to say, Dani's my bitch. No, Zach's not going to do that.
No, but so
he's not going to do that.
But, I mean, now he's in this relationship with Janedy. Did that interfere with you guys, or...
Yeah, well,
okay, so this is my whole thing. Let's talk about Janedy real quick, because I don't know how this bitch comes on a national fucking interview talking shit about me, because number one, Janedy, you're on your third, she's on her third show. This bitch has barely 30,000 followers. No one gives a fuck about you, Janedy. Nobody. Number two, I'm on one show, about to be on my second, and I'm hitting almost 100,000. Everybody knows who the fuck Dani is from the Victor twins. Janedy, who the fuck are you? You're a ferret-looking bird who is obviously jealous. Let's talk about one thing she said in the interview last week. Oh, Dani just uploaded pictures of you two making out this night. Number one, how do you know what I'm uploading unless you're stalking my tweets? Can somebody answer that for me?
Why would you upload that picture, though, if you weren't hooking up with...
This is what happens. You know a Facebook fan page? It goes automatically to my Twitter. I have an album called Appearances. Zach is in my album for appearances because you know what? When he came out here for 4 days, let's ask a question. I want to ask Zach a question really quick. Maybe he can answer it for me. I don't know, on his Twitter, since that's where he talks the most shit. If I was just a one-night stand, why did you come out here 4 days before our appearance that I got you because you told me you weren't getting booked and you were desperate for money? I had this guy booked onto my appearance, and the club owner didn't even know who he was. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I uploaded pictures every time I go to an appearance, which is like every single weekend, and I uploaded it, and it went onto my Twitter. And who's in that album? Me and Zach making out. And who made that decision to make out with me in public? Zach. not me. I didn't put a gun to his head. No one put a gun to his head. He made those decisions by himself, and it's not my fault that right here and now he has to feel like he has to deny me. I don't understand it either.
Is it a public forum that he denies you, or is it like, does he hit you up like on the side or still, or is it just like one day he just dropped you and that's it?
One day he did just drop me. I mean, after he left, he was acting really shady. Like, I was very supportive. Like, I was supportive with his breakup with Ashley. Like, for someone who is, I won't ever knock on Zach's look because he is one of the most gorgeous guys I've ever met. Like, to a T, he's probably one of the guys that I would date to a fullest. But for someone that hot, he has no self-esteem. He's very insecure. You know, he's 6'4", 270 pounds, and he talks more shit than a bitch.
Well, we heard that last week, that is true.
So let's get your opinion on this, Trey. Does this seem like something Zach would do just to make it up for no good reason?
No, I mean, it sounds really accurate. I mean, like she said, I definitely sense the insecurity issues. I think that's one of the reasons why he bashes me all the time, too, which is cool.
Bully.
I mean, he came on your show last week and basically physically threatened me and said if he ever saw me in public, he would bash my face in or something like that. I think that all stems from his like insecurities within himself. It's so funny again to hear him call me the super fan, yet he's the one. Now you're hearing not only from me, but you're also hearing from a girl from a completely separate reality show that he's always wanted to be on the challenges. That's all he talks about. But I'm the super fan. To me, it makes no sense, and I sense the hypocrisy when once I start developing all these facts together, I get a sense of all the hypocrisy that's going on. It just kind of makes me laugh. I'm kind of glad she came on because it clears up a lot of the thoughts that I had.
Trey, he called me a super fan too. He called me a super fan too, and so did his bitch. And yes, I'm calling her a bitch.
That's his favorite word.
If Johnny ever wants to call me a bitch to her... Oh, wait. First of all, Trey, do you know who Emily is from Real World Cancun? Do any of you know who Emily is from Real World Cancun? That's what I thought. Fucking nobody. And she wants to Twitter beef with me because Johnny can't fight her own fight. And I said, you want to fucking talk shit, show up at my appearance. I'm fucking 20 minutes from Boston. She didn't show up. Like, all these people want to call me a super fan because I tried out for Real World twice. And let me tell you, no offense to you, Trey, I tried out for Real World because I'm trying to get my foot through the door. I want to come out with a makeup line. I'm in the process of writing a book with my sister. Like, it has nothing to do with the Real World. It has to do with getting my foot through the door. And him and Johnny say I'm a super fan because I didn't make Real World. I'm sorry. Whether I made Real World or not, Bad Girls Club is racking in for a fucking channel oxygen that nobody even gets. We're still getting in almost 2 million viewers per episode.
Okay,
do I need to worry about not making Real World?
Here's my big question.
Thing, I don't take offense to any of your statements. Like I said, I get it. I understand the whole thing now. It all makes sense. I just, from now on, I just ignore it. I blow off all of his bullshit. I've got him actually blocked on Twitter. I blocked him and Frank. So I don't entertain it anymore. I think that this is one of their ways to stay relevant. And they always say that, Johnny Bananas is always doing this or so-and-so is always. I really think that this is just one of their ways to get airtime, to get talked about, to stay relevant, and it's working because obviously we're here, we're talking about them now, so it works. Well, it's not the method that I would use, but nonetheless, I get it.
Dani, honestly.
Yeah, but wait, say that again. Sorry, I'm all heated up. My blood is boiling right now. It's the first time I get to talk about this, and I'm like amped up.
All right, so the last time you and him were talking, when was that? And then let me ask you another question right after you tell that.
Okay, the last time we talked, he came out here for 4 days, and he even came over to my house. He met my parents. He sat down. He had dinner with my parents. Like, if I'm just a jump off, if I'm just a one night stand, why would you agree to meet my parents? Like, I don't ever.
Right, but Dani, when was that?
When was that?
Right before you left for the challenge, and right before I left for Love Games. Like, we both made our shows at the same exact time.
So what month was that, Trey?
That was probably. He came here end of April, so we started having Rocky Roads in May.
Okay, so
right before he left for the challenge.
So he goes to the challenge. You don't talk to him. Have you just kind of been over him, and then all of a sudden this thing on Facebook happens, and that's where everything's kind of bubbling up now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I never really understood his vendetta against me, so I never really got over the situation. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. When he came out here, I had really strong feelings for him. Like, we talked for months before he came out here. Like, before he even came out here, I felt like I knew him for a really long time because I knew stuff about his family. He knew stuff about mine. Like, I've been through, like, really bad relationships, so this is just, like, shit that I'm numb to. But when he came out here, I had really strong feelings for him. So when he got back, and I texted him because it's surprise, surprise, like I'm on Love Games, and I find out while I'm working on Love Games that he had a relationship with one of the camera women while he was talking to me. And she was like, oh, he told me that he just did an appearance with Dani. The same exact thing that he said on the interview last week is what he said to the camera lady, who is, mind you, is over 40 years old, working on Love Games, is the same thing she said to people that I know and that I'm close with at Buena Murray.
Oh.
So it's like he played me. Like, the entire time, I thought he had, like, feelings for me, texting me saying, I have a monster crush on you, I care about you, Danielle. He's telling this to another complete woman. So for him to come on here and act like I'm a one-night stand is just to make his relationship with his girlfriend better, but she doesn't know anything. Do you think that I would really go months and months and months without hooking up with someone to sleep with a man that's never going to see me again? I would never do that. Ever do that. My parents didn't raise me to do that.
Well, Dani, we really appreciate you calling and inventing and giving us.
We love the honesty. We love it.
It's hilarious at last.
I know. I feel like I was just on Dr. Phil Rehab, Teen Mom, season, 8, because I'm really shit-faced. But you guys appreciate it. I know you do.
We do, and I think it's good because it's very relatable. Lots of girls go through, similar situations.
I like that you say that you were into him. A lot of times people will try to put up this guard and be like, listen, I was never into him either, so what the fuck? But you're honest about it, so I kind of believe your story. And also, Zach last week called me a lady douche. So,
you got a little.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Did you cut it out?
No, I'm saying, I don't know him, so I don't know what he's all about. But from the way he presented himself on the real world, he was a complete homophobe, and I have a problem with that.
So, and, we got to.
No, I know. And you know what? This is another thing I'm going to say, and I hope John A is listening to this. When he came, and I was in his, hotel room for, 4 days straight, we talked, all he talked about was a challenge. And you know what? I'm a fucking down-ass chick. If that's what you want to talk about, guess what? I'm going to listen to you. I didn't talk about Love Games. I barely talked about Bad Girls Club. He kind of actually put me down. He was like, I've never even heard of Bad Girls Club. No one even has Oxygen. Mind you, I liked him so much at that time, I let it go. But I listened to him. And you know what he did? He talked shit about every motherfucker on the challenge right now. And I'm talking about friends that he is, best friends with now. He talks shit about Frank. He talks shit about Jimmy. He talks shit about Knight. And you know who else he talks shit about? His girlfriend, Johnny. And you know what he said about her? He made fun of her hair. And guess who stuck up for her? Me, because I'm also black. I know what it's like to have hair that sometimes on a challenge or in a fucking humid day, you don't want to straighten. There's days where I want to wear my hair fucking curly. And guess what? I'm black. I'm going to wear my hair curly.
I do have
and
to
I stuck up
say...
for her.
Dani,
say that again?
All right, I'm going to bring you on we do Bad Girl. I'm the host of Bad Girls Club. I'm going to bring you on there for you to have a venting session. We got to start to wrap it up, and we got to do a quick Stump the Steamer question. But Dani, you watched the challenge? I know you're a reality.
No, I do. I'm supportive. I hate his guts, but he's on it, so I have to, track it every week. I got to know what's going on.
So I want you to join us for predictions. But before we go into predictions, really quickly, Steamer, you're on the line with us still, right?
Yeah, I'm still here somehow.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Stump the Steamer! This question is actually from Watchtower, so it's a multiple choice question. Steamer, in Gauntlet 2, what was the elimination game that was never played? Was it A, Capture the Flag, B, Reverse Tug of War, C, Beach Brawl, or D, Knockoff? Really, Watchtower.
Nah, he doesn't know.
Beach Brawl.
So you're gonna say Beach Brawl? That's C. It's actually D, Knockoff. So Watchtower, you stumped the Steamer. All right.
Sorry, Steve. I got to give you crap because you're a Yankees fan.
That's all right. They beat the Orioles.
Red Sox. All right, Marissa, take us into predictions.
Oh, shit.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Okay, what was the deal with this horse? And there were horses and vomiting and what? I don't even.
Chariots. Frank and Elton look like they get into it. Dani, what do you expect? What do you want to see next week? What are you expecting?
Honestly, I already know the outcome of the challenge, so it was really hard for me to say what's going to happen. But I didn't watch this week. I just watched a couple minutes before I called in. But I'm hoping St. Thomas makes it far because I met Trey and he's cool as shit.
I did. I saw you guys. I saw you guys' connection.
Aww,
you guys did seem to knock it off very well. I'm excited to see this Frank versus Elton situation.
Yeah, me too. I don't even really know what's going to go on there.
What about you, Steamer?
Yeah, it looks like a good episode. I mean, I hate both Frank and Zach this season, so hopefully, and then Dustin school them, but I don't know if it's happening.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Elton's gonna.
I have to say quickly because you're gonna yell at me, but I do have to say Janedy seemed really nice when she came in here.
She did.
I don't know anything more about Zach.
I also do like Janedy
really,
too,
really
and I want to
sweet.
make sure that that's clear. I don't have any outstanding issues with Janedy, even if Dani does or you know whoever. I actually really did like Janedy in the house. I think her and I, if we have any riff whatsoever, it's only because of Zach. That's really it. But Janedy was really nice to me in the house for the most part, and she's all right.
They seem very different from one another. I kind of can't see them meshing as a couple, but we can talk about that next time.
Very interesting.
I predict we talk about that on the show next week.
We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Trey, Dani, thank you so much for calling in. Before you guys head out,
thank you for having me.
Where can we follow you guys? Dani, where can we follow you?
At Twitter, I am Dani with 2 N's with D.
And Trey, where can we look to follow you?
Always at MTV Trey.
All right, you can follow The Steamer at The Steamer. You can follow us here at AfterBuzz TV. We're now on Instagram, so check out all our fun pictures that we have. I'm exhausted from that. Woo, that's a lot of drama.
Go to iTunes.
And please, go to, we had so much going on. Go to iTunes, subscribe, rate, download. I want to shout out to, you're going to hate me, the Fendi something. We love you, you love us, and we totally appreciate you watching us.
Do I hear rap music?
Yeah,
that's
our outro going. That's get the hell off the air right now.
And also make sure you guys tune in. New shows this whole fall season. Mindy Project, Vampire Diaries, Walking Dead, Jersey Shore. AfterBuzz is covering it. Make sure you guys tune in every single week. Follow me at DJ Jesse J.
At Roxy Striar.
Us at AfterBuzz TV. Till next week, same time, same place. Peace.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.